So we're building an action game, and in this action game, our player, the cat, is going to be fighting off hordes of enemies, one after the other, and he's going to need a way to defend himself. So why don't we give him a way to defend himself from all these waves of enemies that we're going to be throwing at him. To do that, we're going to hover over this button in the bottom right hand corner and select the paintbrush. This is going to allow us to create our own sprite. We're basically just going to be drawing a rectangle that represents our gun in this game, and we're just going to take that rectangle and make sure that it's off placed from the center of the screen so that the left side of the rectangle is over the center, just like that. Next, we're going to go to the Code tab and start programming our game. We're going to go to Events, and we're going to grab a green flag block, and then we're going to go to Control and grab a forever loop, and then we're going to go to Motions, and we want to grab the Go To block, and we want to make sure the gun is going to Sprite 1, and then we're going to grab the Point Towards block, and we want to make sure we're pointing towards the mouse pointer. And then the last block we're going to grab is in the Looks category, and it's this block that says Go To Front Layer. Now that we have all those, we can run the game, and we can see that our gun is hooked to the cat and is locked onto the cat and is looking towards that mouse pointer. We're going to change the size of our gun to be 50. There we go. Next, we're going to add some code into the cat, so we're going to select the cat, and then we're going to go to Events and grab a green flag block, and then we're going to go to Control and grab a forever loop, and then the last block we're going to grab is in Motion, and it's this block that says Point Towards Mouse Pointer. Then we're going to make sure that our rotation style is left and right. Now that we've done that, we have our gun and our cat looking towards the mouse pointer, which is great. Next, we're going to add some movement to the cat so that he's able to move up, down, left, and right. To do that, we're going to go to Events, we're going to grab a green flag block, we're then going to go to Control and grab a forever loop, and then inside the forever loop, we're going to add 4 if statements. So once we have 4 if statements, we're going to put that in the forever loop, and we want to add a couple sensing blocks to these if statements. We're going to add these key pressed sensing blocks, just like this. Now these sensing blocks are going to check if we're touching the W, A, S, or D keys, and if we are, then we want to either move up, down, left, or right. So in this case, we're going to be checking if we're pressing W, and if we're pressing W, then we want to move up. So we are going to change Y by a positive number. And then the next we're going to be checking if we're pressing S, and if we are, then we're going to change Y by a negative number, which is going to move us down. Next, we're going to check if we're pressing A. And if we're pressing A, then we want to move left. So we're going to change X by a negative amount. And then we're going to then move right if we are pressing D. Fantastic. Alright, so now if we run the game, we can see that I can move up, down, left, or right. And then I can also change where my gun is pointing with the mouse. So now that we have the controls for the player and the gun all done, then we are going to add a sprite that represents our bullet. We're going to add a bullet into our game, and to do that, we're going to hover over this button in the bottom right hand corner and then select the paintbrush, and we're going to then paint our bullet. I am just going to draw a yellow circle, and that is going to be my bullet. I'm going to remove the outline, and it's a little too big, so I'm going to shrink it down just like that. Alright, now that I have a bullet, I'm going to go to Events, and I'm going to go grab a green flag block. Then I'm going to go to Control and grab a forever loop, and then I'm going to put an if statement inside the forever loop that's checking if the mouse is being held down, and if it is, then we want to go to the gun. So we're going to grab this Go To block, and we want to go to Sprite 2. And then once we go to the gun, I want to point towards the mouse pointer. And then once we've done that, I am going to clone myself. Fantastic. So now that we've cloned the bullet, we want to do something once the bullet is cloned. So I'm going to grab this when I start as clone, and I'm going to grab a forever loop and hook that to the when I start as clone block. And then inside the forever loop, I'm going to move 50 steps. Then when I move 50, after I move 50 steps, I want to check if I'm touching an edge. So I'm going to go to control, and I want to grab an if statement, and then I'm going to go to sensing, and I'm going to grab a condition. I want to check if I'm touching edge, and if I am, then I want to delete this clone, just like that. So what this will do is we can start the game, and then every time I press or click the mouse, then it spawns a bunch of bullets at the gun, and then the bullets point towards the mouse pointer, and then it moves 50 steps towards the mouse pointer every time the forever loop loops, and then if it touches an edge, then that clone deletes. You can see that when we are cloning the bullet, you can still see the original. So all we're going to do is we're going to go to looks, and we're going to grab this hide block and just place it right here. And then we're going to make sure that the clone is visible by adding a show block there. And now the original is gone, you can also see that we're adding quite a few bullets, perhaps too many. So we're going to add a delay for between where we're going to make it longer. We're going to increase the time between each bullet so that there's less of them. So we're going to go to control, we're going to grab this wait 1 second block, and we're going to place it here inside the if statement, and we're going to change 1 to 0.05. There we go. Next, well, I'd say that's pretty good for the bullet and for the cat and for the gun. So I would say the next step is, well, why don't we first add a background? Okay, so I'm going to click this button in the bottom right hand corner that says choose a background, and I am going to choose this one, the Savannah, and this looks great. Yeah, it looks fine, but a problem I can see is that I can move off the ground, and now it looks like I'm hovering. So to fix that, I'm going to go to the cat. I am then going to go to operators. I'm going to grab an AND operator, just like that, and then I'm going to check if he is less than, or his Y position is less than 50 by going to motion and grabbing this Y position block. And if he's less than 50, then he's able to continue moving upwards. But once he's more or equal to 50, that means he's at the edge of the screen, and we should not be able to move up anymore. So now I cannot go off the ground. So this is pretty good. We are able to move around. We have a cat, we have a gun. That's a lot of fun. So next we want to, since this is an action game and currently there is no action, we want to fix that, and we're going to fix that by adding a couple dinosaurs. So we're going to click this button that says choose a sprite, and we're going to add our dinosaur. Sweet, we have a dinosaur, and he's a little too big, and so I'm going to change his size to 50, and then I'm going to go to events and grab the when the green flag's click block, and then I'm going to go to forever loop, or I'm going to add a forever loop, and then I'm going to wait 2 seconds, and once I wait 2 seconds, I'm going to clone myself. But before I clone myself, I want to make sure I go to a random position. So I'm going to go to a random position like this. So every 2 seconds, the dinosaur goes to a random position and clones himself, but then the clone just stands there, right? But another problem I see is that they're able to spawn in the air or just in the center of the screen. And that's bad, because if you are playing the game and then suddenly a dinosaur spawns right next to you, that might seem a little unfair. So the way we're going to fix this is we're going to say go to random position, but go to a random position that is, well, we're going to go to control and grab a repeat until block, and then we're going to go to operators and grab an AND block, and then we're going to say if, and then we're going to go to motion and grab the Y position block. This makes sure that the dinosaur is not in the air. And then we also want to make sure that the dinosaur is touching an edge and is on the border of the screen and not in the center. And we do that by making sure we're touching an edge. But if we are not touching an edge, or if we are not on the ground, then we want to choose another random position. And until both of those conditions are met, then we will create a clone. And then now that should fix our problem. But of course, we still have the problem where they're not doing anything. They're just standing there. So we're going to stop the game. We are going to go to Control, grab the When I Start as Clone block, grab a Forever Loop, and I am going to go to Motion and grab the Point Towards block, and I want to point towards the sprite 1, the cat. Once we're pointing towards the cat, we want to move 5 steps, not 10 steps, that might be too fast. And so we're pointing towards the cat, we are moving towards the cat, and that might be good enough for now. So let's see, that was the original, there's a clone, and alright, so what we are going to do is we're going to go to Looks, and we're going to grab the Hide block, and we are going to place that there, just so that we don't see the original dinosaur, and then we'll place the Show block there, and that will allow us to see the clones. So we're playing our game, and there is a dinosaur that is upside down. So we're going to stop, and we're going to select the dinosaur, and then select the direction property, and just make sure that its rotation style is left and right. Alright, there's a dinosaur, and he's coming at me. Sweet. So I have little dinosaur friends, but they're not friends. They should be attacking me, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Control, we're going to grab an if statement, and we're going to say if touching sprite 1, which is the cat, if I'm touching the cat, then we want to attack the cat, right? So to attack the cat, we have, the reason I chose the dinosaur, I mean besides him being a dinosaur, is he has this attack animation, or an animation where his mouth is open. And so what we're going to do is when we're touching the cat, we're going to switch to that animation. And we can do that by saying switch costume to dinosaur D. Sweet. And then we're going to go to Control, and we're going to wait a couple seconds or a couple milliseconds on that frame, and we're going to wait 0.3 seconds. And once we've waited that amount of time, we want to switch back. So we're going to go to Looks, and we're going to switch back to our original or our normal costume. And then we're going to check again if we're touching the sprite 1 or the cat. We're doing this again because between the time of him switching to his attack costume and him switching back that 0.3 seconds, the cat could have moved away from the dinosaur, and if the cat is no longer touching the dinosaur, then we don't want to attack or kill the cat. So we're going to check again if we're touching the cat, and if we are still touching the cat, then we will attack the cat, kill the cat, and now the dinosaurs have won. Alright, so this is bad news. It's not good. One more problem that I see is that we are going to start off at the attack costume, so we're going to switch our costume back to dinosaur A, just right there. Alright, so let's see what this does. So I'm having a good time, and then the cat or the dinosaur comes up to me, attacks me, and now I lost the game. So, but if I move out of the way fast enough, then they don't kill me. But of course, if I stay there, then they will kill me and I'll lose the game. So, you know, that's pretty great. You know, there's a little bit more action, but now I feel like my gun is not doing, like, why do I have a gun if it's not able to kill these dinosaurs? So let's fix that. So we're going to go to the bullet, and we're going to say, or rather, let's go to the dinosaur, And let's grab another if statement from control, just right here. And then we're going to go to sensing, and we're going to check if we're touching the bullet, sprite 3. And we could have it that so that the dinosaurs just disappear instantly, but I think it might be funner if they have like a couple like you have to shoot them a couple more times than just once. So we're going to add health to the dinosaurs. To do that, we're going to go to variables. We're going to make a variable called health. Sweet. And actually, not sweet. I'm going to delete that variable, and I want to make sure that that variable is only for this sprite. So make sure that the health variable is only for the dinosaur. And now that we've done that, we are going to go to costumes, and we're going to make a new costume. And I'm going to duplicate costume 1, and then I'm going to grab the fill tool, and I am going to I'm going to get a white color. Okay, and then I'm just going to fill in the dinosaur just like this so that he is entirely white. Yep. So the reason I did that is this is going to be the frame of animation that the dinosaur turns to whenever he gets hit by a bullet. So we have a bullet and we shoot the dinosaur, he's going to turn white in pain, and then he turns back. And that's mostly for the player to know that, hey, I did hit that dinosaur because he turned white, and because now that he's going to take 3 bullets to kill, we should be able to tell the player that he is actually taking damage. So we are checking if we're touching the bullet, and if we are, then we are going to turn, well, we're going to change health by -1. We're going to take 1 health away. Let's also set health to 3 when I start as a clone. And then when I change the health by 1, we also want to check if health is equal to 0, and if it is, then that means we've died. So right here, 0. Alright, so variables, health is equal to 0, then we want to delete this clone. And then right after we change health by 1, we want to switch to that animation. So we're going to go to looks, and we're going to switch to costume A2. And then we're going to wait a little bit on that costume, just like this. And then after we've waited 0.3 seconds, we're going to switch back to our normal costume. And that's all. Yeah, so I'm going to go to variables and hide the health variable from the preview. But now I should be able to shoot the dinosaur. He turns white, and once he's turned white 3 times, then the dinosaur disappears. So that's pretty exciting. I don't feel there's enough dinosaurs though. So I'm going to go to the dinosaurs. I'm going to go to control and grab a repeat loop, and I'm going to wrap this whole thing, or most of it, in the repeat loop. I'm going to leave out this wait 2 seconds, but then I'm going to change 10 to 3. So every 2 seconds we're going to clone the dinosaur 3 times, so that there will be 3 dinosaurs every 2 seconds. Alright, so there's 3 dinosaurs, and now there's a little bit more action, right? It's pretty action-packed. We've got dinosaurs, we've got a cat holding a gun. It's crazy. I can also die. Alright, so our last step is we're just going to add a score. So I'm going to go to variables, create a score variable that is for all sprites, and then I'm going to set score to 0, and then I'm going to change score by 1 whenever a dinosaur dies, so like that. So here we are. So every time I kill a dinosaur, I don't get a point. What? Change score by 1. Oh, I got a point there. Oh, sorry, wrong spot. So whenever, right here, before we delete this clone, we want to change score by 1, not before we kill the cat. Alright, so there we go. We got 3 points, 6 points, 9 points. Fantastic. Alright, well I feel like that will end our video on making an action twin-stick shooter game in Scratch. I hope this was helpful, and thanks for watching.